The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is September 11th, 2019, and this week, Star Wars and Devil's Advocates. My name's Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about other news with Canary Cry views.
That's right. Welcome back, everybody. And, you know, Gonz, you don't do the Facebooks very much. We all know this.
I don't
thousands of people reaching out to you, trying to get in contact, share with you their most recent theories, and just tell you how much they love you. But alas, Gonz is free in the cyberspace, free in the mind, and which is great. We all applaud you, but you do miss out on some things on the Canary Cry community.
I know I miss out a lot, actually. I know that I do, so don't feel bad if you're in there. And
am I rubbing it in?
No. I do miss it, but at the same time, I know where I have to go to get it.
Well, this is way more of a response than I was inviting.
We're wasting time. This is a very short episode.
I know. I'm trying to get into it. There was a poll. As you might remember last week, I lamented that maybe the Flippy updates were just for me and nobody else enjoyed them. It was just me and my good friend Flippy just talking about each other. But no, there's a poll in the Canary Cry community, which I recommend everybody go check out on Facebook, Canary Cry community, for all your Canarian needs. But there was a poll about if Flippy should be banned from the show. And I'm just going to roughly give some percents. It looks about 60 to 75%. No. 70 to 75% of people say they love Flippy and they don't want it to go away. But that does leave about 25% of people who are still not into it. So,
and you know, there's also the percentage of people listening who have no idea what Flippy is.
Every episode is somebody's first episode. So if this is your first, I usually like to start out with a little Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for our friendly disembodied robot arm who is taking all of our jobs, but treating us so right. Flipping our burgers. Yeah, and making our coffee, vacuuming. But this week, no Flippy update. So
all that
I know, the minority wins. The minority, this is for you, 25% out there who don't want any more Flippy updates. You win this week, but there's always next week. But instead, Gonz, I wanted to give you a VR update. That's right. If you are a Patreon member of Canary Cry Radio, you already know this on one of our bonus episodes over there. But, Gonz, I'll say we teased a Twitch channel maybe about a year ago.
Teased would be the appropriate word.
Yeah, we didn't know it was a tease back then. We thought it was near and up and coming, but turns out it was a tease. But everybody should be happy to know that we are moving closer and closer to getting that Twitch channel rolling. And one aspect of that is, Fallout 76 we were planning on playing, but it's apparently just a bad game and nobody wants to play it or watch it. So what we did instead is, my role in this franchise is sort of boots on the ground reporting. Of course, it applies to Burning Man and a few other conferences, doing some guerrilla recordings around the world. And I figured we should take that to the virtual space. And so I'm now equipped currently with an Oculus Rift S, which is the new VR from Oculus, which is to say is the new spying device by Facebook.
And it's on your face currently.
It's on my face currently. I am in a virtual workspace, which is very exciting, much more stylish than my real office. And I've got computer monitors floating all around me. So I'm full on
Minority Report style.
You're
Tom Cruise.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm recording a podcast in VR. Ooh.
Yeah.
So-
Well, we gotta address the elephant in the room too, which is that today is 9/11. So we'll mention that because while Basil is getting familiar with his new virtual desktop.
Yeah, dude, buzzkill from my fun
I'm
VR.
I'm sorry, just keeping it real
VR
over
segment.
here.
We are keeping it real. It's more important. Let's talk about that. Never forget. Yeah, logging onto Facebook, which you don't do. But
no, I do the Twitters, though. But it kind of works out. I'll do the Twitters, you do the Facebooks.
It's a fun mix between all the never forgets and all the never forget World Trade Center 7. A lot of World Trade Center 7 activity going on, which is kind of the starting place for asking questions about 9/11. I won't go so far to say that, you're going to wake anybody up, but it's a good question to ask. So
it is.
On this year's 9/11, when you get into these conversations, just ask your normie friends, what about World Trade Center 7?
I'm surprised that it's still a question to be asked. I thought everybody that, at least in our circles knew what that was all about, but I guess
they do. And well, that's what I'm saying. Our circles, they do. You guys know World Trade Center 7. There were indeed 3 towers that fell in New York. And you'd say, wow, I didn't know there were 3 planes. Oh, it's because there wasn't. There's the 3rd tower just fell for no reason. So look into that, and that's a good conversation starter for this year's 9/11.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing on Twitter is more of the same. I mean, not so much Building 7 specifically, but definitely there was somebody very popular. I don't remember who it was. Someone in pop culture did the never forget kind of tweet, and they shared a video of a looped video of the towers getting hit and like going down. And
oh my gosh.
And I'm thinking, do we really need that trauma just looping off of this?
Well,
and it's got millions of views, so it's like a lot of people are looking at it, and I'm sure, it's an emotional thing, but that's like the mind control, the tip of the spear of the mind control,
It's re-traumatization is what that is called clinically.
Right.
And, every year we have, September 11th rolls around, and you just see it over and over and over again all day long, and for a few days before and after, because those posts kind of hang around. So yeah, talking about the mind control and holding its influence over society, that's one good way to do that. Speaking of mind control and holding influence, in the extended report this week, we do a bonus episode every week. That's double the Canary Cry News Talk. You can get access to that at patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be talking about some CIA whistle blowing on mind control and stuff like that. In the New York Times, going full on public.
Yeah,
so,
and NPR,
it's all over the place. So the fact that it's mainstream, where you used to have to go deep on the dark web and look at a website from 1996 to read something in plain text format to learn about the CIA. Doing mind control experiments. Now it's just right there on the New York Times.
Yeah, it's still controlled. The narrative is still controlled, and we'll get into that in the extended report.
Controlling the narrative is the big part of it. Okay, Gons. Well, you want to get into our stories here?
Let's do it. So first off, you are boots on the ground person. You that's what you do. You go out into the desert. You travel to the places where the people are at, and
keeps me out of trouble for the most part.
Yep. So one of the things that you thought about doing, and you mentioned it previously on past episodes, was going to this Area 51 gathering that the guy jokingly put together, right?
Yes, got a lot of attention earlier this year, a couple months ago, about let's storm Area 51 and Naruto Run, which, as everybody knows, turned into what they were hoping to be an alien-themed music festival.
You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified.
It's unidentified, man. You don't know what you're looking at. Washington Post. Storm Area 51 creator pulls out of his own event, calling it Fire Festival 2.0.
For those who don't remember, Fire Festival was something that happened a couple years ago is supposed to be the biggest, baddest, coolest, most celebrity-ridden, luxurious music festival ever to exist, and turned out it was just a big hoax.
Big hoax.
Big failure. More, not quite a hoax.
Yeah. Well, kind of. Well, yeah. Watch the documentary, right? When the college student behind the online sensation Storm Area 51 announced plans for an alien festival outside in the Nevada desert, organizers tried to fend off worries that thousands of people would overwhelm the resources of a tiny town without a store or gas station. Or, as they put it to the Washington Post, this is not Fire Festival 2.0. But that was before a public falling out between organizers made the weird story of the Area 51 craze even weirder. Months after the meteoric rise of a joke Facebook event that got more than 2 million to say they'd raid a secretive Air Force base for rumored extraterrestrials, dueling accusations of dishonesty and sabotage have derailed Alien Stock, a Woodstock for alien watchers, which creator Maddie Roberts promoted as alternative programming to any plans to storm the base on September 20th, despite officials' warnings. So, oh man, it's just a ripple effect into the actual communities of these alien people.
Right.
With just over a week to go until the event, Roberts and the host town's website are both comparing Alien Stock to the Fire Festival, which was supposed to be held in April and May of 2017 in the Bahamas, but became synonymous with epic failure and led to a fraud conviction. Roberts has pulled his name and support from the three-day gathering in Rachel, Nevada, but the owner of a motel in the town who had signed up as a partner plans to go ahead. Quote, "There's no safety or security that can really be promised," Roberts told the Post on Tuesday, calling the event a potential humanitarian disaster.
Right. Wow.
So there you go. It's not going to happen, Basil, or at least the organizer doesn't want it to happen.
No, this is just a little update. But yeah, this kid is only 21 years old. And if you saw the news reports with this guy, I mean, God bless him. He doesn't have the look of someone who could pull off a huge event like this. I mean, coordinating events like this is incredibly difficult.
Hard, yeah. And logistics. I mean, he's basically talking about a mini Burning Man.
Especially with no experience, which this kid didn't have, unfortunately. And so the man's keeping him down. He's pulling out. And so my plans to go check out the Raid Area 51 event, sadly, probably will not see any follow through. That was supposed to happen next weekend anyways. I didn't make any plans. But yeah, so that's too
I mean,
bad.
you can still go. The
I'm sure
partners
somebody
that are
will
there
still show up.
Oh, there'll probably be some people out there, but maybe not the huge craze. And maybe the military or whoever are already there, kind of getting ready for, break it up. Nothing to see here. Break it up. It's just a desert.
All right, Gon. Speaking of space, I got some for you.
Space.
Galactic clear essentially indicates
Oh, there's tons of other solar systems.
Space. Wanna go to space?
All right, and for those who may be new here, we hold space for lots of theories. Is the world round? Is it a pancake? Does space exist? Does space not exist? But one thing's for sure, space might be a place to fight some wars, if it exists. General John Raymond, head of the U.S. Space Command, is on futurism.com, just announced the newly formed organization's priorities as it prepares for a future where battles are fought in outer space. Raymond told members of the press on Monday that the U.S. could no longer assume superiority in space, according to C4IS or net. I've never seen that before. All right. He said that the organization would first bolster its forces in hopes of deterring any potential conflict. But Raymond also noted that the U.S. would be ready to strike if deemed necessary. A troubling glimpse into the militarized future of space. The Space Command's top priority is deterrence, per KaiserNet. I want to say they want me to say KaiserNet. But it will also prepare for combat missions to defend America's interests in space or respond to threats. That means that if deterrence fails, the military will be prepared to launch its own strikes. Quote, although space is clearly a war-fighting domain. That's a cool sentence. Although space is clearly a warfighting domain, we do not want to fight a fight that extends into space. Yeah, okay, Raymond. Paraphrasing VP Mike Pence's speech from when he announced the Space Command in August. Quote, "We seek to deter that conflict, and the best way I know how to do that is to do that from a position of strength."
Yeah, always got to be the biggest guns in the room.
There you go. So it is clearly a war-fighting domain. Now, Gons, there's been theories and stories floating around the war-fighting domain of space for a long time. In fact, that was going to be a topic of your book, wasn't it?
The idea of a secret space program. And, a lot of that stuff, there doesn't have to be like a real space for even some of those programs to exist, and at least the agendas to exist of compartmentalizing people and a whole, branch of human society that's going to bring us forward and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that's taking place at a certain level anyway. But this is interesting because, thinking of whether space exists or not, this idea that it's a war zone, it's been around for a long time. You got the 1967 Space Treaty that was supposed to prevent people from using nuclear weapons in outer space.
Yeah.
Which, there's a lot of gray area there with the language, and the research that I did for the book suggested that people like Reagan, during the whole Star Wars thing, the dome, the Iron Dome for America, that idea, they put up weapons in space with the rods of God and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of information out there regarding space being a war zone, for decades. So,
yeah.
He's not like saying anything new here. It's just an interesting time to have this public kind of.
But again, it's in the public domain now, where talking about space as a warfighting domain used to be a crazy person's fantasy. Now it's right here out in the open. So that's a very interesting development in the times that we're in. Sort of related, but not part of our official stories here. India just crashed their lunar lander.
Yeah, why does everybody crash their lunar landers? And
Israel and then India.
That's it?
I think China did one. I don't know. I think China's is fine. Actually, China's is fine. China's made it. And I saw a story that they recently, where they're on the dark side of the moon, landed their rover over on that side, and there was
the Nazi side.
Yes, where the moon bases are that we can't see, and they were saying they found some weird gelatinous substance, but later it turns out that was probably just a translation error, and it was just some like glass, some meteor glass or something. So nothing too exciting there. But China does have a rover on the moon right now, allegedly. Okay, Gons, are you ready for our main story?
Our main story.
Oh, the most interesting one, I think, today. Hit me with it.
He's a Satanist.
That's right. Short little jingle there. This is from theguardian.com. Devil's Advocate. Are Satanists now the good guys in the fight against the evangelical right?
What?
Now, one thing we like to do on the show here is track sort of the mainstream sentiments about a lot of things, and one of them being Satanism. And as we've talked about Satanism in a couple different ways over the years, it might be kind of the top topic that we've talked about. And there's an interesting movie coming out, but here we are. This is theguardian.com. Over the past century of popular culture, Satan has acquired the souls of Delta blues musicians, incited youth rebellions, possessed small children and goats, impregnated unsuspecting women, and transmitted evil through backwards lyrics on heavy metal records. So already starting out with a little bit of some cheeky comments. But recently, to paraphrase the Rolling Stones, the nature of his game has been puzzling to us. The forces aligned against Satan have become so objectionable that he no longer looks like the bad guy. They include such groups as the Westboro Baptist Church, notorious for its hate speech against LGBTQ people, Jews, Muslims, and other groups, all of which it condemns as, quote, satanic frauds. There's the Trump administration, of course, in league with the U.S. religious right, which has been aggressively pushing anti-abortion and anti-LGBTQ legislation, not to mention engaging in overt Islamophobia.
Demonic power.
Those forces would also include the 20,000 people who recently signed an online petition condemning the Amazon TV adaptation of the cult novel Good Omens, about a demon and an angel as, quote, another step to make Satanism appear normal. Now, a documentary threatens to rehabilitate Satan, directed by Penny Lane. Hail Satan? With a question mark. Follows the early adventures of the Satanic Temple, an institution that has hit upon the perfect counter-strategy to the evangelicals' efforts to recouple church and state. Based in Salem, Massachusetts, where else, the Satanic Temple is officially recognized as a tax-exempt religious organization. As such, it has been claiming the same rights and privileges as those obtained by the evangelical Christian groups, albeit with a prankster sensibilities. Let's see here. I might skip down because it goes a little bit into the history of it.
It's a very long article.
So they have a trailer, actually, of the movie on here, and it's a good trailer as far as trailers goes, but it really reveals the place that the sort of optics for the Satanic Temple and for Christians, in current evangelical Christians, the sort of view that's held of them in many places around the country and the world. Now, we don't want to play the whole thing because we don't necessarily want to just play an ad for Hail Satan on our show.
Yeah.
But Gons, did you grab a little clip just to give an idea of the type of stuff we're working with here?
Yeah, this is about a 17-second clip of the documentary Hail Satan, the trailer.
We do indeed invoke Satan.
We have gone from 3 people to 50,000.
There's no doubt that this is my life's work.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
So yeah, you can tell the music in contrast
yes, of
to...
course, playing the hymn back behind it there in contrast with the Satanist message being given out there. For those who might remember some of the more infamous things that the Satanic Temple has done, they started after-school Satan clubs promoting scientific rationalism. And when the Oklahoma State Capitol permitted the installation of a Ten Commandments sculpture, the Satanic Temple campaigned to erect its own 8-foot-high statue of Baphomet, the goat-headed, cloven-hooved deity. So, of course, Facebook exploded when that statue was erected. One thing to note, as far as that goes, the Ten Commandments statue that was erected
had an all-seeing eye on it.
Had a huge all-seeing eye on it. Like, it was the most Masonic, like, anti.
Okay, thank you. I'm not the only one that saw that and thought, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah,
hold on a second.
I could not get campaign for that version of the Ten Commandments. So it just had huge Masonic symbols on it.
The thing is, all the groups, the group that goes after the LGBTQ and all that, the Westboro Baptist Church. Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, do you support what they do, Basil? Like, as an example, just specifically talking about the Westboro Baptist Church.
I mean, no, I can't really get on board with
Okay, me neither.
Baptist
I can't get on board. I mean, they may be brothers and sisters in Christ, but like
maybe I don't know though. There's a lot of stuff about them.
Yeah, there's whatever they're doing, whatever influence is going on there. That's I really have a hard time believing that that's of God. But that's the thing that's really weird is that the Satanic group and all the people that are like opposed or displayed as examples of like, oh, this is what we're up against with this theocratic Christian evangelical political movement that is sweeping the nation. And like the representatives of that, the majority of the people are just like, yeah, we're just believers. But the ones that come out and really, the people like these guys here.
He's a Satanist.
Those guys.
Right.
Who don't really know what they're talking about. They're just like going after Satan. And look, there's like a truth aspect to it. But if we want to be specific and honest about what these people believe and what they're actually touting, then that's not really the best way to approach them with the gospel. So
now,
yeah,
I might recommend people go and read this whole article. I'm going to read one last little spot, and then we're running out of time here. So we're going to head out, and you have a little ending thing here. But, we talk about the difference between the Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple and all the different flavors of Satanism or Luciferianism. And this is the description in this article of the leader. Now, this is right next to a big picture of Aleister Crowley. But it reads, Greaves, he's the leader, he's the guy who started the Satanic Temple, doesn't believe in God, Satan, evil, or anything supernatural, he says. Nor does he sacrifice babies or serve a secret coven. The Satanic Temple is non-theistic and its principles are broadly liberal humanism. The first of its 7 tenets, for example, is, quote, one should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason, end quote. So why call it Satanism? The metaphor of Satan is just as important to a lot of us as it would be to anybody who takes it literally, because we grew up in Judeo-Christian culture. It really does speak to us in a very pointed and poignant way about our place in our culture and what our affirmative values are. And of course, it defines what we oppose, these kinds of theocratic norms and authoritarian structures. So this is the one where they kind of claim it's more of a political societal movement rather than actually worshiping Satan. Now, unbeknownst to them, I'm sure there's a lot more going on, but there you go. There's your update on the Satanic Temple. Now, to fight the fact that we just played that clip, Gons, what do you got for us?
Well, sometimes we hear things that really, this was shocking to me in terms of just not just emotionally, but, China's been going through a lot right now, and there was a clip that was shared around maybe a week ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, of people singing Hallelujah to the Lord. And in this is a Christian news article. Video Sing Hallelujah to the Lord becomes anthem for Hong Kong protests against China communist push. And even though only
the Umbrella Warriors.
Yeah, the covered in blue. Even though only a small percentage of Hong Kong citizens profess to be Christian, numerous online videos have captured crowds singing Sing Hallelujah to the Lord on the streets in recent months among protests against a bill that some fear would extradite residents to communist China. And we just wanted to play a little bit of that just to get a feel for what it was like to be
touching.
There.
Yeah.
There you go. It's pretty cool. There's thousands of people kind of in this business building, I don't know, foyer kind of area where they're just gathered and they're singing. They're all waving their phones, ironically.
The Chinese government could not have been happy with that.
No, but
a place where Christianity is openly banned.
Think about all the Chinese databases with all the Chinese Christians waving their, you got all the data from this one little
gathering.
Protest. They're gathered and singing. There you go.
Yeah, GPS pings going on all over the place. Yep. Oh, there we go. That's I like that. I like that. And that song, I forgot about that song. We used to sing that song all the time in church when I was younger. It's a very interesting song to be singing in sort of a contemporary church. Did you ever sing that song when you were? Oh, well, you weren't.
I didn't. Yeah,
you weren't.
I did not grow up in the church.
Christian. Yeah,
so
it's an old school song.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it. Are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, everybody. Now, remember, we have our extended report over on our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/CCNT. Over there, we got an episode, extended report 95, Empathy, CIA, and Confused YouTube. We're going to be talking about, like I mentioned, the CIA mind control disclosures that have been happening, as well as just some very interesting stuff about YouTube. And then, Gons, what is this? A movie trailer for Empathy Inc. Which is going to be interesting. And we're going to be following up on a lot of stuff over there. So if you want twice the Canary Cry News Talk every single week, you can head to patreon.com/CCNT and get that. You support the show. We do not run ads. We don't believe in selling your attention for our own personal gain. So if you find the show valuable, edifying, or educating, or entertaining, you can head over there. Again, that's patreon.com/CCNT. Please support the show. Thank you very much for everybody who does that. Also, if you got people who are still getting their news from the mainstream, man, let them know what's going on over here at Canary Cry News Talk. Go ahead and rattle some cages.
It's gotta be biblical.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Son of a bee sting.
That's right, everybody. Make sure to do that. And make sure to tune in next week to Canary Cry News Talk. But until then, think outside the cage.
You're going down, Olstein.